Joining me today to discuss Earth Day 2008 from Future City Incorporated is John Dobashevitz. Welcome, John.
Thank you.
And from the Corps of Engineers, Lisa Barron. Welcome, Lisa. The famous Lisa Barron. John, tell us about Future City and Earth Day 2008.
Earth Day started about 38 years ago, 1970. So before I talk about Earth Day 2008, let me take us back in history a bit. In 1970, gasoline contained lead, hard to find today.
What was the price of gasoline then?
Probably not much, probably in today's economy, not much different based on the price of the dollar, actually. But air pollution, water pollution was often seen as just a sign of moving forward as an industrial country. But the beauty of Earth Day was it was started by the United States Congress by a senator from Wisconsin, led to legislation such as the Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, which are the real bones behind why we make better decisions today. And even just using the word environment in a public setting like this in 1970 wasn't that popular. So it was usually a spelling bee term. So we have a great event planned with the Army Corps of Engineers. The Coast Guard as well comes to participate, as well as faculty and students from Kane University, to provide students and the community with an opportunity to see the value of specifically our watershed and this very unique habitat that the city of Elizabeth is surrounded by.
Okay. Now, Lisa, can you tell us a little about the Army Corps of Engineers activities in New York Harbor?
Sure. We've been around for a very long time in the harbor, where we've got many aspects of our programs where one is keeping the waterways open for commerce to come into the region. We've been dredging the harbor since the mid-1800s, 240 miles of channels and shipping lanes. And as the ships get bigger and bigger and bring our stuff to this region, we've got to maintain those channels. So we have, right now we're in the middle of deepening 23 miles of channels, and going to the door of Port Elizabeth and across the way in the Arthur Kill to other container ports. And so that's one of the major programs that we have. And then we also have our debris vessels that go and clean up the floating debris and floatables in the harbor so that we can keep the beaches and the shorelines clean. And then a program near and dear to my heart of what I'm managing is ecosystem restoration. The Corps has a mission for actually proactively doing restoration in the harbor, and I manage the overall Hudson Raritan Estuary Restoration Program, which is looking for comprehensive solutions to restore the harbor in the entire New York, New Jersey region. And then we also have a regulatory program that deals with permitting issues and any construction that takes place in the harbor. We make sure that they are not doing anything that will impact the channels and the estuary itself. So anything that requires fill or dredging and development that occurs, we deal with the regulatory issues.
Okay, now Friday, April 25th, anything special planned for that day?
Yes, we have an Earth Day event that we're working with all of you, and we've got a lot planned for the Corps. Several aspects. I know the program has expanded over the years, and we've got a boat that's going to take students out to go and witness dredging operations out in the Arthur Kill. We've got we're going to have a touch tank on shore so that the children can learn about the environment, the biota that live out in the ocean. And also, we're going to be having displays, working with the Coast Guard, and oil spills will be talked about, working with other agencies.
Sounds good. Sounds exciting. John, tell us about the Elizabeth River Arthur Kill Watershed Association, their role in the event.
The Watershed Association was started by Future City. So we actually work through the same operation. The Watershed Association is the formal part of the nonprofit Future City that works with the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection on developing activities like this, seeking funding for activities like this, and therefore providing the large framework for what kind of education goes on. So considerable work goes on by the Watershed Association to make sure that the students get the most out of the opportunity. So besides the visual effects that all of our activities provide, there are clear lessons associated with each event, and so that students come away with it, and their teachers, with not just that event, but ways to follow up and continue the process of learning.
Okay. Now, why is it important for the city and the students participating in Friday's event? What do you want the students to get out of the experience?
We design every activity to engage the students with an experience that not only they can touch, as with the touch tank, or visually get on a boat, which many may not have ever done in their lives, or see some of the unique things that are out there, but also to explore them through hands-on investigation, minds-on activities. And again, feeding this idea that we want this to be a long-term commitment by the teachers, by the schools, and certainly by the young children, the young participants. They're not all that young, who come to the events to continue to pursue environmental ideas, and certainly as a university faculty member, come to Kane University eventually and become an environmental scientist, work for the Army Corps of Engineers. What's interesting about the Corps' idea of restoration is that, keeping in mind, until things like Earth Day happen, the Army Corps of Engineers and other agencies typically wouldn't be involved in restoration. They would be involved in channelizing the river, dredging, but it's very nice to see that we're tackling both pieces of the puzzle. We can't just continue to build or change the environment without explicit recognition of organisms and the landscape. Okay. So they're to be commended on that.
All right. Now, we've mentioned Future City several times here today. How many years has Future City Incorporated coordinated such an event like this?
This is going on our 6th year, I believe. And since we also, as you know, run an Estuary Day event, we do 2 very large-scale events during the year. And keeping in mind, Future City has done a number of other events. We just recently had a mapping event in Newark that Future City coordinated and sponsored. So it's part of this larger long-term plan to engage our students in many different ways, through the watershed and the Watershed Association, through community building, and just an overall better understanding of how cities like this function.
Okay. Now, Lisa, does the Army Corps get involved with many organizations for Earth Day projects?
Yeah, so far we've done this for 5 years, going on 5 years, where we've worked with Future City and the Elizabeth River Arthur Kill Watershed Association, and so, you know, every year we want to make sure that, you know, the kids get to participate and show them what resources in their backyard that they, I think, most of the time don't even realize that's there. So as much as we can get involved on those single days that occur to get the kids out there, the better.